Failure again. Not due to the car, but really due to me. But it comes with a long story. So, where to begin? Yes, I was there Friday night, August, I think it's the 16th. Yes, I was placed in a heat. Got my number 78. And yes, they did not cancel that heat. That heat happened. I didn't run in it. So here is my story, I guess. So, it was about Friday, we got there and we were pretty late, actually. Had some troubles getting there, and got there pretty late and ended up getting stuck in because I had originally put the registration in for Thursday night, but I had it switched on Thursday to Friday night, and apparently communication from the office to the actual registration area where you register your car for the demo is not very good, because I was stuck in the very last heat, almost last car. So, which I should have been one of the first heats, if not one of the first cars really to be registered. So, really disappointing there. Lack of communication really killed that one. And I knew the longer we were there, the more chance there was of a thunderstorm. And, well, guess what? The thunderstorm hit. And it hit hard. About, if you guys watch my previous videos, you might be able to see lightning and stuff in the background or whatever. Shortly after that video ended, they started bringing out the 5th heat, and that heat got canceled. Just before the cars came in, they were actually lined up outside the ring to come into the ring, but they canceled it last minute and said 30-minute intermission. We got a terrible thunderstorm coming, gonna recover immediately. And we heard this in the pit area, so I went and grabbed my tarp, which is still sitting in the back there, and I threw it over the car, and it just downpoured for a solid like 10 to 15 minutes, and then it rained lightly after that. And I decided to call it quits. I just said, you know what? I didn't know whether it was canceled. There was no word of whether it was canceled or still going. So I said, you know what? The track's probably a muddy mess. It's probably canceled, or I'm just going to say, screw it. I'm not going to run. And I told everybody, my family and everybody in the pit area, I had them, called them up and said, go home. It's not worth staying. You guys are going to get soaked, and this camera I'm holding now would have been ruined. If it rained again and I was in the heat and it started raining and my brother decided to keep it rolling, this camera would have been ruined. So it wasn't worth, in my mind, losing over $300 worth of equipment and also possibly losing the car at the same time, just for a derby that wouldn't be recorded, except maybe with the GoPro, and for a heat that would max speed probably 4 to 5 miles per hour max. Not even maybe. It would have been just a mud show. That's all it would have been. Not really much hitting. At least as far as I know. I didn't stay and see that heat. I never even saw any of the heats. Actually, all the camera footage I still haven't watched. I just posted it. I still haven't watched any of it, although I did watch a little of it, and it looks like my brother might have given you guys a little bit of motion sickness if you guys watched those videos. It was pretty bad. He definitely should have practiced or at least watched a few of my videos before. He doesn't take much interest in Demolition Derby and doesn't really know how to record one, apparently. Although he's been doing this for the last, like, two years. So, I don't get it. Whatever. Well, all I gotta say is, I'm sorry if you guys were looking forward to me running. I had a bunch of support back in the pit area and also in the grandstands. I had a bunch of support, and I thank you guys so much for all that support. Wishing me the best of luck with my run and everything, although it didn't get to happen. I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, you wussied out or whatever, and that's just not true. Do I regret not running? Kind of. But I just don't think it would have been much of a show. On top of not being able to record or anything, and the weather forecast for that night was predicted to have thunderstorms, so I don't think it's a great idea that they had the Derby in the first place. Along with the previous night, they had that Thursday night demolition derby, and you guys already saw the video if you guys watched that video, of bad news but possible good news. That was the title of the video. That was the same night that they had the Thursday night demo, and it got rained on pretty hard, and there's a heat that only had 3 cars in it. It's like, seriously? And not even half the crowd show up, I don't think. It's like, what a waste of money, because at Herkimer you have to pre-order your tickets. It's not like you go there, you show up, you buy your ticket and go sit down, or buy your wristband. You have to actually buy a seat, and if you don't show up, your money is wasted. So it's not like, and if it starts downpouring in between or whatever, well, you have no protection, and if you don't want to get wet, then leave. And I think I have a few choice words for what was going on there, but I'm not going to say it just because, you know, that's their decision, not mine. Derby drama, stuff like that. So the aftermath of the car, it's just fine. Obviously, it never ran, so what's next for this thing? I'm starting to think I'm going to have this thing over the winter. I'm starting to think that might be the case. The fair coming up that I could possibly run at is kind of questionable. It was a crappy one last year. You guys know which one I'm talking about. It's Fonda. It was kind of a derby. It was one of the worst ones. Actually, up to that point, it was the worst one I had ever seen. Worst derby I'd ever seen. Which is saying something. It's just, I don't think it's organized very well. Plus, it being so close to when I go back to school, meaning less than 2 days, going to college, it's just so tight that I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'd probably have to change this car quite a bit just to run it, which I'm not thrilled about, because I put a lot of work into this car, and have to change it is not sitting right with me. So you guys will be seeing a video on this car pretty soon, but this video really isn't supposed to be a depressing video, at least not all of it. I got support that I wouldn't think was even possible. Shout out to Joey, you know who you are, Joey, if you're watching this video, Joey K on YouTube. Thanks for coming out. Thanks for saying hi and stuff, man. Always nice seeing you out there, along with another guy I met named Rich, and another guy named Chris, and all the people who went backstage, not backstage, on the grandstands to the pit area, and actually saw my brother, and I heard he had like 3 people come up to him and say something positive and stuff like that, and and I want to thank you guys for that if you're watching this video. I know that'll, I think he told me that both of you, or two of you, 2 out of the 3, at least said you watch the channel almost every post. So, and we're loyal fans, and I thank you so much for that. So, this video isn't supposed to be all negative. Obviously, there's some positive things. Am I really that sad about this? I'm kind of sad, and I kind of regret not running that night, but in the end, I got the car done. It's ready to go for another time. I'm going to be showing you guys a more in-depth video of this thing pretty soon. I'm going to pull it out and pull out of the tent here and show you guys this whole thing in and out, and should be hopefully you guys are pretty impressed with it. There's a lot more upgrades. Let me walk around the car a little bit here. A lot more upgrades from the Century, but a few more downgrades from the Century, like the Halo bars, but I wasn't allowed to run those anyway. Plus, I don't know how I could have, because if you look at the location of the pole, it would have run right here. So, that's one of the major upgrades right there from the Century, along with the battery box. The battery box is an upgrade, but I wasn't required to have a battery box at the Brookfield Demolition Derby, but I was required to have one at Herkimer. And obviously you got the whole gas tank set up here, but what to talk about? There's just not much more to talk about, I guess, other than the fact that I didn't run. So, I'm sorry you guys may be disappointed, but I guarantee there's plenty more derbies coming on many other channels, YouTube channels. If you guys want to go see those, go check out Zach's Workshop, Demolition Missions, All For Him Racing, One Goose Garage, and many more, really. I may be recording a few more. I don't know if I'm going to be able to record Fonda, but I think I'm going to be able to record Brookfield. I'm not going to be running Brookfield, and that's because of the new promoter. Not that I don't like them, it's just that I'd rather wait for time to take its effect. I know they only had like 25 cars turn out. You guys saw that in if you guys watched the Brookfield Demolition Derby, you guys saw the poor turnout. It was one of the worst shows I'd ever seen, honestly. But hopefully the turnout's better this time around. I was not going to bring a V6 car. The only problem is, in the past, Brookfield, whenever you bring a mid-size car like this one, they'll stick it in with the full-size cars like Imperials, well-built Cadillacs, Fords, all of them. The Lincolns, and this thing would get absolutely screwed over, so, and I'm not looking for that at all. So, hopefully, Brookfield does get better. I'd like for them to change their rules as well. I think one of the reasons why they've been getting a poor turnout for the last few years is because of the fact that their rules aren't stock enough. I just don't think that people are really wanting to build the cars as much as they used to, only because they don't last as long, because these cars have crumple zones. So, yep, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. Sorry to disappoint again. And you're probably saying, really? Come on, man. How many more times are you going to do this? And God, I hope not many more times I have to do this. I swear to God, it's like something's working against me. Between the weather, the car, the trailer, everything. Every year something seems to go wrong. I hyped up 2019 a lot, only to be a total disappointment, pretty much. Kind of a shame, but hopefully 2020 is much better than what 2019 has panned out to be. Also, things may change around here. I know I said that for 2019, but I'm going to say it again for 2020. We may get more of a permanent structure, like a garage. So, alright, well, see you guys in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye-bye, everybody.